Welcome back to episode number 2 of the LinkedIn Ad Makeover show. On today's show, we are reviewing Campaign Drive. Now, if you guys, you're running like a multi-location brand, if you're, running a franchise model, whether it's in the fitness space, the, food space, whatever kind of, wherever you're running a franchise-based model where you've got, multiple independent locations, then I'd really, really recommend, if you're struggling right now with certain locations, trying to ensure, quality assurance and just making the overall, customer experience at each of your individual locations really, really successful, then I'd really, really recommend that you go and check these guys out. Okay, they've essentially created a software that is like built for growing a franchise business, a franchise model. So yeah, if you're in that space right now, go and check these guys out, okay? So without further ado, these guys are currently running one campaign, and that's what we're going to be going through today, okay? So what I'll kind of do first of all is kind of read through the ad, and then I'll kind of point out some things that I've, personally, spotted and that I would personally improve, okay? So first of all, reading through the ad, multiple locations are no excuse for a bad experience. Scale your multi-location brand with ease by providing a consistent experience across hundreds or thousands of locations while dynamically customizing for the local market. Okay, so what I would say with this, with this copy is it's almost like you're diving into the solution that Campaign Drive offers, okay, without actually explaining or calling out the problem, okay? And this is something that you see, in a lot of campaigns, especially always on like websites as well. A lot of founders, they have this like thing of, they'll just dive straight into everything their software does, and they'll start, telling you all the benefits, and our software does this, and it helps you do this, and it helps you do this, and it helps you do this, and it's kind of like, it overloads the person reading it. You're using all these, dynamically customizing all these different fancy words that kind of just people don't. At the end of the, people don't care, right? And that sounds very blunt and very, it almost sounds a bit too blunt, but it's the truth, okay? Especially if you're just, if someone's scrolling through LinkedIn, okay, and you just start, talking about all the great features and all the great benefits of, that your software offers. At the end of the day, people don't really care. People are, they're busy, they've got things to do. Okay, so the best way to get someone's attention is, I call it like speaking to the annoyed friend. Okay, and it will make sense when I kind of explain this. So you want to write your ads almost like you're speaking to a friend that has, the problem that your software, kind of solves. Okay, a big mistake that I see a lot of companies making, especially on the software space, is they write ads like they're writing to the Queen. Okay, they write ads, using all these like fancy words and scale and blah 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 and features and all this crazy language, right? But you've got to remember you're speaking to people, right? We're not speaking to robots. We're speaking to people, right? People who have got feelings, people who have got problems. So the best way to write your campaigns is speak to people in a funny, kind of, relatable way, okay? Because the minute you start speaking like this and, all your features, and you start using dynamically and all these fancy words, people just switch off, right? Because people, they want to read something that they can relate with, that they can really kind of go, yeah, I've got that problem. That, I feel that. Like, that they've got to read it and be like, yeah, I'm experiencing that, okay? So I always say start your ads with a pain-provoking question, okay? Start your ad with a question that, the audience, whoever this is for, a multi-franchise, founder, they read it and they're like, yes, I'm experiencing that problem. That's like bang on. That's exactly what I'm experiencing, okay? And it should like almost, not upset them, but like kind of, it gets their mind to start thinking. It gets their mind to start thinking, that is a problem that is very real for me. I'm having trouble, with customer service. I'm having trouble with, keeping, ensuring quality assurance across each location, okay? They have to read your copy, and it has to, like I said, it's almost like they're speaking to, an annoyed friend who has this problem, okay? Now, the next thing I'd say as well is, the image, it's kind of like, for some reason, software companies, they avoid using, I don't know why, and just in a general kind of B2B, space, you get a lot of these types of images, right? Like these animated corporate type images and videos where it's a bit dry, it's a bit boring, right? And I think, especially going into 2020, I'm going to be writing an article on this kind of later on today. I think there's such a big opportunity right now for companies to use like creative, almost like Dollar Shave Club-esque type videos where it's, it's funny, it's witty, okay, but at the same time you're still getting across the problem and, how your software solves that problem. I think there's such a big land grab right now for you to create really, really creative videos, okay, that, are not these kind of just dry, boring images, okay? I just think these types of images, they just blend in with the background of LinkedIn. Okay, so what I would say is, either come up with like a really creative video or just use more, if you're going to use images, okay, include human faces. Okay, it sounds a bit strange, okay, but include like an actual face, right? Include maybe like your team in the picture, or just maybe one of your clients, like a customer review. Avoid using stock images because again, they just blend in with the background, especially on a platform like LinkedIn. Okay, but just avoid in general using these kind of like corporate animated type images or stock photos because, like I said, they just blend in with the background. Okay. Now, another thing I would say as well is, again, the headline is the perfect place to get that person's attention with a really, really strong question. Okay. And what I normally say and what I normally do with my clients is basically I will basically just kind of for the headline I will use the first line of copy that I've done. So let's say the question that we're using at the start of this copy is are you struggling to ensure quality assurance across your multi-location brand or franchise. Okay, I will then use that in the headline, and I'll use that as the headline. Okay, the headline is pretty much always the first thing people read in an ad. Okay, so the headline, it needs to get their attention. It needs to speak to them. It needs to they should read that headline, okay, and it should stop them in their tracks, okay. People get it completely wrong with headlines. They think that that they've got to be these like very kind of just general and generalized generic headlines that are, or or kind of like CTA button headlines where it's like download our free ebook, or click this button, click sign up to to watch our free webinar. Okay, the headline is what kind of stops people in their tracks. Okay, it's the first thing, it's the first thing that when someone is scrolling through their LinkedIn feed, it's the very first thing they see. Okay, so it has to get their attention. Okay, now the fourth thing I'd kind of say as well is focus more on the end user. Now I've kind of mentioned that over kind of when I was talking about the copy, but like I said, write your ads, okay, like you are speaking to an annoyed friend. An annoyed friend that has the problem that your software solves, okay? And it just, by doing it like that, okay, the person then reads the ad and they can relate with it, okay? You're not using all this like fancy language that's just, that's just fabricated. You want to write an ad like you are writing an ad to an annoyed friend. Okay, because that end user, that the person that's reading that ad is going to relate so much more with it. Okay, compared to 99% of ads right now on LinkedIn where they're just using all this fancy language that quite frankly people just cannot relate with. Okay, now also as well, I see a lot of B2B SaaS companies doing this on their ads. They don't really give clear direction. Okay, for like the steps that someone needs to take from this ad. So if you read this ad, there's no download our free ebook, or click the button below, or if you want to take the next step to increasing your franchise success, click download our free ebook. There's no offer incentive. It's just this ad, right? It's just a bunch of text, right? So what I would do is kind of towards the end of the ad, I would give like some form of offer incentive, whether it's download our free ebook, or come and watch our free training, or sign up for a free demo. You want to have some form of offer incentive, because otherwise people just read this ad and then it just stops here and there's no kind of okay, what do I do next, right? There's no like clear next step. Okay, again, you want to write your ads like you're speaking to an annoyed friend, but then when you're talking about the next step, i.e. click the button below, download our free ebook, you want to make it as simple as possible, almost like you're speaking to a 3-year-old, okay? If you want to take the next step, okay, click the button below and download our free ebook. You want to make it really, really clear what they do next to kind of, start the process of working with you guys, or, start the process of, working with you Campaign Drive, okay? Now, what I've done also, and what I'm going to do every single episode, like I did on the kind of very first episode, I'm going to be walking through how I would basically almost like rewrite, this ad, and how I would go about, writing an ad that really would stand out. Okay, so what I've done is I've basically just rewrote the main copy here, and then I've rewrote the headline. Okay, so I'll just kind of quickly read through this kind of ad that I've rewrote, and then kind of talk about why I've wrote it this way, and how you can personally, if you're a SaaS founder, why I've wrote it this way, okay? So let's read through this. So having trouble scaling your multi-location brand while ensuring a good customer experience? Question mark. Here at Campaign Drive, we know how difficult it can be scaling your multi-location brand while ensuring excellent customer service and quality assurance. By not having a strong handle on your different locations, it can very quickly be the death of your brand. If you feel like customer service and quality assurance is slipping, then we want to help you get back on the road to multi-location success. Click the button below to watch a free webinar on how to get back on track. Okay, and then the ad headline is having trouble scaling your multi-location brand while ensuring a good customer experience. Okay, so the ad headline is literally just the first line of the main copy. Okay. Now, the reason why we structure an ad like this, okay, is we're first of all it's what I call agitating the problem. Okay, so we're getting the attention with the headline. Okay, it's almost like a pain-provoking headline because it speaks to their problem, i.e., they're trying to scale a franchise, but right now, they're getting crap customer service in some of their locations. That's the problem. Okay, so we first of all call out the problem, we agitate the pain that they're facing. Okay, and then we introduce, and we kind of further we kind of agitate the problem, agitate the pain, and then we kind of further relate with them, like I said, like we're speaking to an annoyed friend. Okay, we know how difficult it can be. It's almost like this kind of like therapy session, right? They're reading this ad and they're like, yeah, I do have this problem, yeah, this is a pain, like, yeah, I do think this could be a very, very serious thing if we don't sort this out. Like you are writing an ad like you're speaking to a really, really annoyed friend who's got this problem that they're trying to sort out. Okay, and that's why we want to write an ad like this, almost like relatable friend. Okay, so we're agitating the problem and then creating this relation, therapeutic voice, right? And then we're then offering a kind of first step to solve this problem. Okay, we're not blabbering on about all our different features and benefits and blah 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 blah. We're not blabbing on about we're not saying everything. We're just saying, look, if you want to take the first step to getting back on getting back on the right track, then click the button below and watch our free webinar. Okay, we're not saying we've got the best software and we've got dynamic locations and we've got all these features and blah 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 blah, because people cannot people get bored. Okay, people are very people just naturally are very, very selfish when they're reading ads. They don't care about your software, they don't care about this, they don't care about that. All they care about is does this company get my problem, okay, and can they solve it? Do they get me? Do they get what I'm going through? Like, do they really understand how much of a pain this is for me? And do they actually have the solution? Can they get me back on the right track to solving this problem? Okay. So guys, I hope you've really, really enjoyed this episode. This is, as I said, this is going to be something that's coming out every single day, over Christmas, and then I'll if the feedback is good, I'll continue doing it going into the new year and going into 2020. Okay, so guys, like I said, I hope you've really, really enjoyed it, and I will see you guys tomorrow for episode number 3 of the LinkedIn Ad Makeover Show. See ya.